of you knew that there are modifier adjustments for your age? Like, it's a tiny little, tiny little table. It almost doesn't affect you unless it affects you under 12 and over 40. If that's your age, you have you take a negative to certain modifiers if you're below, and
score adjustments.
Yeah, certain score adjustments below and above those age ranges. It's really minuscule, but who would have known that?
It's mostly because in our experience that everybody plays in that same age group where they don't take.
Yeah, we're all usually 16 to 30, so.
That's the thing though. The rule, you won't understand how a rule pertains to your character until it applies to your character.
Yeah, so anytime any of you are starting a campaign or if you're playing in it, do not be afraid to be like, hey, consider this. Even if you're reading a rule, be like, it's worded like this. Does it mean this or this?
And ultimately, in the end of things, it's up to the DMGM.
What was it that we were just debating the other day about how one of the feats worked?
Was it Agile Repose?
No, it was.
I love that. I'm not going to dispute how that works.
It was dodge. We were the way dodge is phrased. It's a feat in this system that if you take it for your character, you get to pick one enemy and you get a +1 to your defense against that particular enemy. And so usually the DM is at the start of your turn, tell us who your dodge target is during this. Don't be randomly at the end of something be like, oh, by the way, that's my dodge target. And so a lot of the players they were doing it at the end, and I was like, no, you need to do it either at the start or in the middle because it's an action. And my friend goes, no, you can just do it as long as you do it on your turn. So I was like, hold on, one of us is a dirty liar and the other one's me. Hold on, hold it out. It's worded specifically that as a action declare a dodge target, which under that wording we took it as it has to be at the beginning or in the middle because at the end you're no longer doing your actions. So when you're learning a system and when you're playing in a system, to ask those questions. It's going to make your experience a lot easier.
Words are weird. Ask your DM about them.
Yes, words are very weird. We don't always use them
because the book is there, and most systems are not as generous to have all the core rules into one book. This one.
Yeah, this is the most generous system any of you will ever use.
And in D20 Modern, there's pretty much just the one book. Any of you 3.5 players?
Come on, I got a wagon I can use, right?
And every single thing.
Several gigs worth of just 3.5.
So, I'm gonna say those of you who raise your hand that you're we played a bit. How many of you have actually DM'd before?
That's a whole different
thing. Yeah, that's a whole different thing. If you're starting your DM to be a DM and you're I'm not quite sure how to do it, I'm always gonna suggest D20 Modern as your first one. This is the whole book here. It's got everything. It's a very simple, easy system to go.
Not the best system.
You definitely it's not going to cover all the things you might need for certain campaigns, which we're about to get to. But
if you play 3.5, then D20 Modern is pretty much the same. The same basic skeleton structure.
But since we do talk a lot about taking anime, we have a little thing about picking your source material for it. How many of you know and have seen Fairy Tale?
Heard of it, haven't watched it yet.
Heard of it.
It's good stuff.
First off, very great anime, love it. Second off, we did, we're about to finish next
week. We're 2 sessions away from completing it.
A Fairy Tale based campaign. And we picked Fairy Tale because it's a huge broad world and the mechanics of the world can fit into one of these systems. And so when you're looking at it, when you're going you're sitting down and you're this is insert blank anime here. I really like this. But what system could it work with? That's when you got to start looking at for Fairy Tale, they had so much technology using the lacrima in it that it justified it fitting in D20 Modern because they have cars, they're powered with the magic, and so those skills. The skill list in here, computer use. There's a magic that is based on computer use. If you watched it, if you know Hibiki, he would need
And
the
it also
computer
technically could
skill.
have fit into 5th edition too, but because we've had more experience with one or the other, because the rating's going the way, we just went with
But then,
what we know.
if you pick something like 7 Deadly Sins, if any of you know that anime, that's something you would need to sit down and learn 5th edition because it's so vastly fantasy in it. So when you're sitting and you're deciding what anime do I really want to, or video game do I really want to start with, that's what you have to look at when we say like picking your source material, is where you're starting with it, what can it fall into. And sometimes, like, how do any of you know the game series Tales of?
Yeah.
That's better than I most like it. It's this very extensive kind of anime-ish video game series that they are all different. They do fantasy, they do technology, they have different fighting styles, and it's so vast that neither of these could fit into it. I couldn't find one, and that's when you have to go, can I do this yet, or am I going to completely make a homebrew? And that's what I did for Tales, was started from the bottom up and took from different things and made a homebrew. So when you're looking down, like, actually, does anyone want to like give me like an anime or a game, and I can, we can like discuss like maybe like what we could do.
Sometimes, yes, sometimes
Awesome,
you will
we
get lucky. And
We
if
actually
you
did
can't
that.
find an anime that does fit into any of these systems, even not beyond just the two of these, if you look on the internet and if you look in the right places, you will find pre-existing systems for them. Naruto is a very popular anime. I've seen tabletop RPG systems for Naruto. I attempted one.
On like the subject of like him like suggesting Pokemon, he actually did Pokemon. There is a little bit, if you Google it, some stuff for it. Pokemon's one where, because it's just such a weird concept for the world, it's not really something you could fit into it. But it was a very simple homebrew. It was, here's a note card, here's your Pokemon stats on it, go fight each other. It was very easy to do.
Sometimes you will find systems and you're like, I don't like how that works, and then you can. So then it will be up to you whether or not you want to use something that already exists, or if you absolutely can't find it, or if you still want to just homebrew something simple.
Yeah, and
which is what I did for
there's
Pokemon.
nothing wrong with taking a system and adding a few things to it just to make it go, because we added some skills for Fairy Tail
we
D20
take this and we
Sword Art Online.
Oh god.
that. I don't know much about Sword Art Online,
I would say.
but I would say.
So yeah, this is where like it's a like good debate. Like if you try to come up with something and you want to talk with somebody about it, something like Sword Art Online, I would say, because it is in a video game and it is a modernized world, even though you're doing it into a fantasy, I would say use D20 Modern, because you're in a game. It has a bunch of the skill list as things you would need in that series. Where's my little thing here? So you got your skill lists like craft, balance, disguise, escape artist, gamble. You could use a lot of things in that game.
I would actually
for
recommend
that.
3.5 for Sword Art Online.
Yeah, and see, and this is like where
And
like you
the
like
cool thing
it
is
comes down to
you can
personal
tweak-
preference.
You can tweak like the little bits and pieces of modern things that you want to into a fantasy system. I do know for a fact that 3.5 does have those in their own book, have those things to tweak into.
Yeah,
There's also a
and
section for firearms, and I thought that was pretty cool.
at the same time, there is magic in D20 Modern. So that's when you start looking at it like, what are you going to be more comfortable with, and what do you think is going to work a little bit better in it?
Yeah, what he was saying about doing one for Pokemon, I actually looked it up about maybe a year or so ago. I found 2 different systems as Pokemon RPGs, but the rule sets were so convoluted and so
Yeah.
backwards.
Was one of them revolved around like using D6 as
Yes,
yeah,
and the
I know
other
that
one,
system.
and the other
And I
one was
agree.
Pokemon Tabletop United, and I read through it and I was like, scrap this, and I literally took 5th ed, and then took the Pokemon game, took the basic stat boosts for each one, and I just wrote them out like that, and I just went, all right, every level they gain, they get this amount of stats, or you roll a d6 and you
Yeah, like,
spend it
and,
however
I mean,
you want.
it's a good thing to do. Like, if you look at something and you're like, this just isn't gonna work, if you just take some things from it, you can come up with some good things. Because that's what I did Digimon. I went from where he took from Pokemon, and then I took from him and went there to do Digimon.
2 things. Another one that's really cool, I think, that people have done is DC and Marvel characters. And like I think it's 3.5 rules or 5th edition, one of the two. That I know people have done conversion to that. One that I brought up to my friend right here, who's DMing a 5th edition game, hopefully next week. That My Little Pony is one of those that's weird because there are at least 2 systems to my knowledge. For instance, I know one of them is Ponies in Paris, right? I think it's like My Little Pony RPG-ish.
Yeah, they're
I have seen My Little Pony systems, but I actually played one. My
it's very
friend, she
niche still.
just homebrewed a simple one because she was
it's
like
very simple.
pretty fresh DMing. We just wanted to get something simple that we could just really.
I mean, it's ponies. I feel like you really could kind of just do anything with that.
It was basically a homebrew system because it was working
I had
on
fun playing it.
more of a like trying to advance your friendship elements, I think, or something to that effect. So it was a little different, but it worked.
I do like the idea of like taking a simple,
But
like
change
kind of
like-
slice it lifey anime and like adding all these like serious stats and numbers to it.
I'm telling you, we could do it for
I like,
friendships.
I like the flavor of that.
What he mentioned about Marvel superheroes and stuff, I feel like I remember my cousin telling me about a system that was already set up for superheroes like that, pretty much.
Mutants and Masterminds is a good one.
That's usually generally if anybody's going to talk to you about like a superhero one for like in a different system, that's usually what they're
It
going to
is
refer
a
to.
lot. Mutants and Masterminds, in my experience, is different from this as far as how you build. But once you get the hang of it, I think it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I actually had a friend of mine who asked me to like start writing a campaign, like just a homebrew campaign. But one of the things that he specifically asked was, can we have it like as a Greek Spartan or Roman Centurion campaign with like gods and monsters? And the quickest thing that I could think of was taking 5th Ed and spinning the Percy Jackson series on it and just
That's cool.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
definitely could do that because like if you're going to be using gods and goddesses in like any campaign, one of like something like this would be really good to use because it gives you a list
Yeah,
of gods and goddesses in here, and then you can just go, well, here's the mythology I want to use, and then just plug it in.
yeah.
That's what I really
For
like
that.
about the system because it's still broad enough where you can tweak and modify your playstyle and to fit. I love this system.
Do you want to move on to the next slide? Okay, so continuing on, like you like doing for like any kind of like anime or like game you want, the canon of it.
Canons for anime can be tricky and a lot to keep up with.
I said this last year, and I'm gonna say this again. If you just want to do like some sort of RP where you take your characters and put it in and interact with the canon characters, I'm gonna say just RP or just like write a fan fiction, because when you do that for a D&D campaign, it's gonna get really convoluted really fast. Because I did it once, and it was so difficult that when we did the sequel, we had to jump skip time so much so that we could justify not using the canon characters.
I think that just comes to like the DM mostly has knowledge about this anime or video game and how the world works and how the mechanics work and how they can make the mechanics work into a tabletop RPG system.
Like, how many of you know Kingdom Hearts? Could you even imagine trying to fit a bunch of like your own characters and your own story into that pre-existing storyline? There's so much going on that Square Enix doesn't even know what they're doing right now. They're just like, look, Toy Story distract you from what we've done.
Plus,
But-
there's that whole debate of like, there's in my experience why I avoid it personally is because when you try to especially RP a canon character, there's gonna be somebody who's like, no, that's not how you do it. That's not how. You do
Yeah,
it.
you're always
That's
gonna
mostly
get.
why I personally avoid canon material.
You're also like a good thing to avoid with that, especially if you're a new DM. You're always gonna get that one person who's like, well, I've watched this anime. I don't think that's how that character would act with this. And I'm like, well, Billy, sit down because you're not DMing.
Right.
But you'll definitely like get that one person. So it's, especially if you're starting, if it's gonna be your first time DMing, do the good blanket thing of the canon is a story. We have books documenting, like that's what he did
That's
for
what I
Kingdom
usually do
Hearts.
because it's a little flavor.
It's like, here's the story of Sora and Aqua and them, and it's books they have in the library.
Take the base premise of your story. Like if you want to do like for Fairy Tale, what we've done is we've taken the concept of Fairy Tale just without the canon characters and fill them in with our own.
Yeah, because then you can keep your world, like keeping your world together. You can keep that a lot better because then you're like, here we can keep the laws, the structure, how like the powers work in it without having to be constricted by like the what ifs of like in Fairy Tale, like, well, they only had these many dragon slayers, but since we took out the canon, we now have like 10
Creative
dragon slayers because of that.
gives you a tremendous amount of creative freedom to do with what you want to your favorite anime. and video
That,
game.
or you could just do a huge time skip, or
Yeah, that
before the
too.
end.
We did that for our Hitman.
Yeah, but yeah, we were able, and that's another thing. Like we were able to do that for Hitman Reborn. We kept the canon, and it still was like a little messy, but we did a huge like it was like a 40-year time
So
skip.
far along that the canon's kind
Yeah,
of
like
at that point.
there were people who were dead, and I broke my heart. But we could do that because the series was ended. But with Fairy Tale, it just ended, and we've been doing that campaign for like a year. And then we've got like Ruby, and we don't know when that's gonna end. So
You don't know when that's gonna end. I know when that's gonna end. Is that right?
No, I meant the series.
maybe
Like,
it
yeah,
is.
but you don't
Campaign.
know.
The
You're
campaign
not
ends when I say it
Booster
ends.
T.
But
I don't want Ruby to end.
it's a great, fantastic way to, especially if you're me and really, really like storytelling, but I cannot put it on paper for the life of me. So my alternative is to do this and have my players be a lot more immersed in it, and I find that very satisfying. Yes.
Ruby seems like a really hard one to do, because at any moment they could completely destroy almost
Yeah.
the entire world.
They can. That's another reason why I don't like to go with the canon, because you don't know what the canon's about to do next. So if they do, like if I did my Ruby and if I had like if they were like being friends with
Hello,
Pyrrha,
welcome.
and if I was gonna have somebody like, oh man, everybody's gonna like Pyrrha's gonna do something exciting, and then season 3.
But
I'm like, well, I don't
with
have sources.
with that, like that is a good thing. Like if you're doing a series that's ongoing, pay attention to like what's going on with it, because when he started Ruby, I had a character in there. She was a faunus, and she had ears and a tail. Well, come to find out after a live stream, faunus are only allowed one trait, and that is a very like specific thing for the faunus. They only have one animal trait.
Yeah, pay attention to a lot of the world building
So
aspects.
even though we didn't keep any of the canon in it, we then went back, and any character that was a faunus in the campaign, we then had to be like, okay, what's the one trait they have? We have to take away the rest of them.
Something else I know you guys were having to work on, the ongoing thing, was like concerning stuff with Grimm, and because I remember that you had mentioned there was or I don't know if it would pertain to spoilers, because I don't know how many people have seen Ruby yet.
If you think it's gonna be spoilers in it, if you
It
don't,
was just the
like,
content of the Grimm we were having concern about.
yeah, that was another like doing Ruby. Have any of you seen Ruby at all with that? Because doing the campaign on that, they had the monsters, the Grimm, but they had very select types of them, and so it was like I believe he was telling me once like, what can he do? And then all of a sudden season 3 comes along, and the like concept of what a Grimm can be goes out the window. And it's like, all right, pull from the monster manual. What do we got? And that's
Sometimes-
another good thing with
Sometimes
it.
if you're doing that, you run into the case of where, oh yes, Ron.
Would you be able to do something with Monster Hunter?
Oh yeah, Monster
Oh
Hunter.
yeah,
Fantastic.
definitely.
I don't know about Monster Hunter personally, but I know if somebody did and they wanted to, there's so much source material.
There's-
Like, the monster manual from 5th edition.
Where is? Did you bring the monster manual with this? Because Monster Hunter, this, if you were to run a Monster Hunter campaign, I would say do 5th edition, because anything you would want to fight to make up, you have so many choices. You can there's even stuff like I've seen some of the things from Monster Hunter that they look like the things in here, and so aesthetically you can be like, oh, you're fighting this creature, and you just find something that's the same that's like the same sort of concept of it. Like if you're fighting like one of the larger creatures in that, find a large creature in here. It gives you everything you could know. And doing the 5th edition, you just throw your people in there, and just go hunt all the monsters you want.
And if there's something that you can't find, you can just easily tweak something, shape it however
Okay,
you
hold
want
on. One in the purple shirt had his hand up first, and then we'll go around here.
And I mean, it's not important anymore. It was more of a comment that, I mean, when I'm thinking of Monster Hunter, there is like the archetype you'd almost have to, it's from Unearthed Arcana, so you can almost just toss it out because it's Unearthed Arcana.
to. If you guys want to, it's really easy if you want to run a fantasy style campaign, but with no magic, you can just say no magic or into things at all. You can still run a perfect.
Yeah, like if you like,
Fifth edition.
it's good to let people like do what they want to do for like your players and stuff. But if you have to restrict a few things, be like, hey, don't pick a magic class. We don't have magic in this
If you want to
this campaign.
build a beef stick barbarian,
Yeah.
top.
Yeah, what I was gonna say was if you were planning on like not Monster Hunter, but doing like a demonic campaign, like based around Soul Eater, then
I haven't done that.
Robert Schwab, who
Yeah.
co-created Fifth Ed, he made Shadow the Demon Lord RPG, and it's nothing but demonic creatures and witches and all kinds of stuff like that. So that would be so that would be like a perfect source material.
Yeah,
for
you
that.
could definitely, and like something like that, you could definitely also, if you really wanted to too, it like, let's say you wanted to do something like Monster Hunter, but you're like, I got this urge to do something very modern. You could do the D20 modern and then just use the monsters from the monster manual. of
There's
it.
something for every play style, and
Like you can
can tweak it to fit.
perfectly fine to like mix and match these because I watched him. We're using this for Ruby, and then he's over there getting the fight ready, and I see him flipping through the monster manual for his Grim. Like you can mix and match these things. And what were you gonna say really quick, Jeremy? Because we had
I
another.
totally forgot.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, buddy.
What would you recommend using for like a Persona campaign?
I'm working on that, so I will let you know. I've been doing like my research and stuff, and what I've been doing is like if it's just like a modern day thing, you could use what I'm probably gonna settle on doing is homebrewing the Persona mechanic, and then taking just the base system and using that. But there are probably some creatures and things from other systems that I just have to do more research into it.
Yeah, it's
Just so drastically different.
because he's actually working that. Like straight up, if you want to get our contact information, we'll let you know as soon as like he has like
And
that ready. Like
once
what
I find
the
how to do
system
Persona,
is.
I can also do JoJo.
Oh,
That's-
God.
That's a fun one. In the back.
There's actually, I think, you have to tweak it a fair amount, but the summoner from Pathfinder, because it has.
I have
that
been
would
like
feel the
thinking
closest.
about the summoner classes.
You'd have to
trying
modify
to
the
learn how those
item,
work.
but the growth is similar, I think.
Oh.
I was just gonna make a comment to his question. Another good book I would recommend for monsters is Cobalt Press's Total Beasts. It's 300-400 extra monsters. They go into Fae, a lot more things, so it's a really good product I use.
Yeah, there's a lot, and these books are expensive.
Mhm.
They have
Yeah.
PDFs of them and stuff.
45,
It's,
50 bucks a piece.
yeah, it's really good to like have your hard copy, especially if you're like me and I just have trouble scrolling with it. But because I, obviously don't have the time to learn every single system, definitely there's a lot of like wikis and help pages that have like what you might need from those other like monster books broken down for you to be able to find, because we had to, for Fairy Tale, which in that all creative freedom we got 2 of our dragon slayers are actually half dragon. Like they weren't just raised by the dragons, they
Like
were
another
raised
character.
by
So now
the
we're going
dragons.
through different systems, different books to
Find
those
like
stats.
how do you make a half like human, half dragon? Because there's when you do any kind of hybrid, there are stat changes.
Yeah.
So we're going through like all these different systems and everything. Like where do we get dragons? Who
I
was
just
it?
had to think of this.
Wait,
What?
was it?
What? No, Ricardo and Yuna.
Oh shit! Yeah, that I've heard. Okay.
They're dragons. Yuna's always a dragon.
Have you thought about doing one for Dead Man Wonderland since the universe would be so
I have a
close circle?
concept, and it's very the same aspect of Man Wonderland, and I was gonna use like the concept for Man Wonderland, not the modern time
Yeah.
for it. Use it for a 5th ed, but I love that concept, like the whole Thunderdome prison, like
Yeah, I
fight to
had.
survive for your freedom.
I had a whole thought for Dead Man Wonderland. Like I thought about it. I thought about doing like the setup of them being in prison with it, but I just couldn't find like a story for it, so I dropped it. But I definitely was like, I could fit all of this in here and do exactly like. I can tell you like looking at that series, because all the different like classes you have here in D20. I'm looking at Crow, and he's definitely a strong, fast hero. He's definitely he's at least a level 4 with 3 levels in strong, because he can hit that hard, but because he's so hard to hit, he has at least 1 good level in fast.
D20 Modern is maybe not the best system, but it's our favorite. It's good.
It's my favorite for doing the anime stuff, because I can look like you can look at like a character and be like, if you wanted to build a character like Crow, who hits really hard and really fast, and he just, has that one big old blade, you can look and see there's feats that fit that. If you want to build something that I'm building for a campaign we're doing, how many of you play Overwatch? I'm basically building a male Sombra, is what I'm doing. It's one level of fast so that I can actually use my gun pretty decently, and then a couple levels of smart, so I have 107 skill points for this character.
Yeah,
Jesus.
smart heroes.
So, oops. Yeah, so, and there is in the D20 Modern a whole section for hacking
Yeah, but
for that.
there's
and
also in the D20 series for this D20 Future, which has mechs. So all you Gundam Evangelion fans and such.
get in the mech
And
and
then,
get in the future.
And then D20 Past.
And did you have something you were gonna
No,
say?
I was just pressing my hands.
Oh, okay.
What is your opinion on when you're playing a preset campaign? What's your opinion on things that are supposed to happen in the campaign, but your players get around it? For instance, when something is supposed to kill you.
Have a plan B.
Yeah, definitely have a plan B. Be flexible. This story's gonna break my heart.
And a
So
C and a D.
we were having a little bit of trouble in our last fairy tale session. No, none of the players were seeming to have that sense of we could die in this. They're fighting angels and demons, and we didn't get that feeling that they felt like they could really die with this. So this poor girl, who all she ever did was try and help the players pass their S rank trials. She's this sweetheart who has been in the guild forever. We had to just walk up to her and break her neck. And I had to do this character that I had just worked on and built. I had to kill her to get that sense in there. And I feel so guilty because it was the only campaign I've used her in. So I'm like, I need to find something for her to do.
As a DM, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to get to where you need.
Yeah, and I felt really bad because we just made her. But I was like, every other character we had in that scene had children that were about to be born. And I'm like, I can't justify killing them and then also making those children not
Fairy Tale's
exist.
kind of done it.
So
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta kill
Three
Rin.
times.
Oh, this is our building world. So we already talked a lot about math though in this and how much I hate it.
So we're on world building now?
I went to the next one because we were talking about the canon. So I just went on to our next one. Yeah, this one's the building
I can't
world.
read that.
This is the one where we started talking about when you're actually making the campaign. If no one is broken, if everybody's broken. So if everybody's a Super Saiyan, nobody's really an overpowered Super Saiyan.
Yeah, if you as a DM are worried about one particular character or player being a little more broken comparatively, which kind of would lessen the fun for the other players, because you got this one guy who's may have take advantage of several loopholes in the rules and
Min-max or that sort of thing.
yeah, and he can do max damage and stuff ever so effortlessly. You as the DM have this wonderful power to tweak the rules because you are the law, more or less. That all things stop and end with you.
How many of you have made a character that you just really love them and you want people to know that they're a really good character with that? Because I have one that she is, she's half a dragon. She just, on her base stats, she's got two 18s and the rest 17s for her stats. She can easily without effort, the base skill, how we do fairy tale is you roll for your magic. It's a skill, and at her right now, her skill's a 10 for it, and we have this cool thing, if you shout, if you really get into yelling your spell,
And we want you guys to
yeah,
get RP, so
you get another 10 to add to your D20
So if you
roll.
do the anime thing where you actually loudly yell your spell, we'll give you
So,
a shout bonus for it. That's fun.
The lowest DC is a 20, so, and if you cross the threshold, you get more damage. So for her, if she yells and she gets into it, I can easily get her up to 5d6s for a low level spell for damage. But because of that, she doesn't really fight the players a whole lot. She doesn't really fight a whole lot.
But that's
because
an NPC thing.
That's how you can get around being able to have that special broken character to really show what people can eventually do with their characters. without making your players be like, well, I guess I was gonna lose anyway. With that's a way to like get around that whole like really broken thing.
But if you have like a broken player character, and then
Oh yeah.
with the other players, either that's really up to you as the DM to decide whether you want to like limit the broken player from like manipulating these rule sets, or maybe giving some way to level the playing field, either
Yeah,
watering
definitely,
down
like,
the
you
broken
can-
one or beefing up the other one.
Yeah, definitely. Like you can combine things and kind of edit things because you can. There's always a way to either make everybody like come down, or you can bring everybody up, and that way everyone has a good time and nobody's really technically broken.
I have found that when you're giving them a monster to fight or an enemy, and if you're kind of stuck in this conundrum where it might be too easy for your players, but you don't want to necessarily give them, like, they're hitting them really easily, so they're just kind of like dwindling them down very, very fast. But you don't want to make it so that where the monster can hit them harder, because you don't want them
Thank
to
you for
die
coming.
easily.
Thank you.
I would always recommend just beefing up their HP a lot, even by smaller increments.
DM in a campaign I was in, I'm not in it anymore sadly, but it was really good. The DM is brilliant. He's actually going to be in the 5th edition campaign as a player, which that's scary because he's really good. He's a brilliant DM, knows the system backwards and forwards. The way he was doing it with us was sort of that we had a home base that we found, and so there was someone there, the mysterious NPC that was going to help us, and so he had it set up so that we would be able to actually, not only with her, but there were other people. We basically improved the characters more than if they were just at level 20. They would be much stronger ultimately at the end of the campaign.
That's awesome.
It was a really cool thing you did. And
You had something you were trying to say.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what's your opinion on player punishments?
Yeah.
Because like my dad, he was DMing, and one of the players was strong enough to where he could basically take on almost anything by himself. So it got to the point where he was attacking literally everything that came up to talk to him, pretty much. So, and he was like a dwarf fighter cleric, and he had basically the in-game equivalent to Thor's hammer. So and he was just being really annoying and ruining the campaign. So my dad decided to have Odin go up and talk to him, being really like creepy and suspicious. So he threw the hammer at him, and Odin just kind of took it and ran away with the hammer. And my uncle got a moon dropped on him.
No, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
Old
like,
uncle.
Like in that sense, like if somebody like going around with their character, like literally just, I guess like on their high horse or too big for their riches in a sense, something that can just easily, something stronger than them is usually the default that I would go with.
I definitely agree with that. If you got somebody who's like, my character like can do this, this, and this, definitely throw them something that they definitely can't handle. And just to kind of make them be like, oh, okay, I should probably calm the
I think that's what led to
down.
making those selective NPCs who are absurdly strong.
Yeah, that's
Exact
definitely where those
reason.
NPCs
Those
come
just in
in.
case
Because whether one of like our friends knew it or not, at the start of the campaign, she kind of kept charging into every fight, even though they were all the same level, and she was, just a very base level character. She still was like, well, my character's very in your face, so she kept running in and getting hurt. So definitely had my dragon girl definitely took her and was like, well, here, like, let her fight her, and then completely stomped her and was like, okay, now I'm gonna actually tell you. And like that way she was like, now if you want, I'll teach you. But so that way she also got character development, and then she doesn't do that anymore
And
at
then we're
all.
like,
She
what did you learn?
She definitely, like, the player definitely talks with, like, the other players and, like, make sure to have space so she doesn't get caught in a wall again.
Yeah, like, what if you have the problem of, like, running a campaign and there's one person who always seems to, no matter how many times you talk to them about it, always seems to alpha the group, like, this is the way it's going to be done, we need to do this, and that kind of thing.
No, that's not for a little while, but we do have that.
There's a phrase that I like to use, and it goes, don't worry, I've got you where I want you.
Okay.
Yeah, like that's definitely something to sit. It's
Especially when you have a character who likes to just go very strange places.
And-
like you guys are here in this town. There's a reason for you being here. I'm gonna go way over there for whatever reason that doesn't really pertain to anything at all.
my thing. Like
Don't.
if you have a player with that, unfortunately, especially if they DM'd before, like unfortunately, like you do this occasionally. It's just really hard when you've DM'd because you know exactly like what you want your character to do. So you kind of like unconsciously like push everybody towards like, let's do this, because you, as like, since you've DM'd before, you know you're like, well, this is probably like important, so we should be doing this, so you lead everybody to it. My best thing is like literally talk with them, because if like he ever does like those few times that he's done it to me when I've been starting out, I'll like be like, hey, you know, let somebody else do it, and you know, talk to me later about, you know, stuff with it. Really invest in your players. They make your story.
Like if a player really does want to go out, like if they do have their own agenda that you aren't aware as the DM, then yeah, ask them what there is, and that way you could not only let them do what they want to, but make that productive in some way.
Yeah.
Collaborate with them, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always like, it's literally that's actually a great great phrase. Trademark it, use it.
You also gotta worry
Invest
about
in your
the fact that,
players.
at least as far as like, as long as the player understands that if you go do this, you're essentially isolating yourself from the rest of the group, and you probably will miss out on certain things. And it's like, are you going to be okay with that? Yes. Well, go have
And
fun.
and if they're wanting to like really lead and like be like pushy with like the other like characters or the other players, you know, tell them like there will be actual like consequences for how you and your character act
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah, like as an example, a campaign that I wasn't running, someone else in our group was running it, but another player, he just constantly played like he had no interest in being there, did not really care.
Just had that problem with the campaign I tried to run recently.
Yeah, and so he kept like he would just like he decided for whatever reason to play like a female gnome who was a lolly, but a hooker no less.
We've had a character play a hooker, but she did it much better in our campaign.
Yeah.
Well, that's at a point where I'm gonna be like, reel it back.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, that's the thing. Like
Our rating for this system is a little lower than that.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like we kept trying to like get him like on task to help us out, but he never seemed to want to do it. He'd wander off, go do whatever he wanted. So when we got into an area called the Dark Forest, he would wander off. He would get hurt, but still somehow manage to find his way back and be okay. And so by the time
If you roll good, you roll good.
yeah, so by the time we got on the cart, we were being chased by a giant shadow monster. It was trying to eat all of us. My character was just like, just hack her damn legs off. Let's use her as a piece of meat. Because every time we tried to kick her off the wagon, she would never go off the wagon. She'd always manage to stay. So I was like, screw it, hold her down, chop her legs off, toss her off. But we filled her with radiant magic, which wound up killing the creature anyways.
I ran into just a similar problem with
Suicide bomb thing?
with the
Exactly.
campaign I just tried to run, where I had 5 of you. Harry on tree. Yeah, 5.
Yeah.
And two of the players, where I tried to it was the first session, and they did their one thing, and then I tried to introduce them to get started with the whole meat and potatoes of the main story plot, and they were just more or less ignoring it. Like they were in the abbey, and this cleric asked them to escort this lord's son to the country's capital. And he said, "You will be paid upon when you get there. Just we need you to escort this little boy." And so all the time, one player just like, "I leave the abbey," and I was trying to get the cleric to go, "But wait, no, it's I leave the abbey." I'm just, all right, you leave the abbey. It was them trying to get the other character was pretty much the same way. Like, why is this worth it? And just like, I told you, you guys would get lots of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like that's another thing. Like really, like again, like talking with like your players, and like you can definitely tell if you're gonna have like a good player or something, even if their character is like really awful. Like that campaign that he's talking about, I made a character, a tiefling, and they were a giant dick. Like they were so rude, like every single thing they did. But I understood enough that they have to do like the story. He was in it like for like money, and there was a reason. So he would agree to help. He agreed to help. Like the dude
this
that he
player
was like
just
trying to get us.
straight out ignored it.
Yeah.
Like
and-
there was every motive to do it. Like your dude likes money. He has a reason to need money. He needs to get his ship back up and running to get out to sea. You need to buy the things to repair your ship. This is more than enough money to do that. And then he's just like, I leave the alley.
Yeah, like definitely remember to keep the character and the player separate, because people will play characters that are raging assholes.
Not nice people.
And but like they'll be very decent players and they'll understand like that's like what you need to do. But then sometimes you'll get like somebody who is also a dick.
As
and
long
they
as it
also
still
play
works
dick.
well with the synergy of the group and the campaign, I kind of do like those characters.
Slightly off topic, but what is your opinion on character alignment? Like,
Yeah.
how loose can you be with it before it's unreasonable?
I literally was thinking about this question like while we were working on this like on Thursday. I was literally thinking because we got asked this last
That's
year.
Like, for instance, where you're talking about escorting the prince, how, like, if someone was like chaotic neutral,
I think it was just like.
and then they, instead of escort the prince all the way there, they go there and then hold him ransom for more money, would that be all the way to evil, even if your characters really needed the money?
Yeah, if something is like blatantly like that's way out of your alignment versus something that's like,
Yeah, if you
That's
yeah.
like the gray area in your alignment where it starts to bleed over to the next one, but it's still kind of within the boundaries.
If you're, what I'm going to say, this is, because I'm not joking, I literally thought about this question. What I thought, if you're going to have people have an alignment, if you're going to let them pick any alignment, make sure you know exactly what you want for your world. That way you can judge it on your world's morality scale. Because if you have a super huge chaotic world, and they do that and they kidnap the prince, like hold him for ransom, that might fall right into their alignment if the rest of the world like fits into that sort of thing. So definitely know exactly what you are and don't be afraid to punish them and let everybody know when they pick alignments there will be consequences.
I've taken the rule of I will let a player act one step out of their alignment either which way, but if they go one step farther that, like if I have the neutral good character, I can let them go into the lawful good or the chaotic good. But if they go into the neutral good, or not lawful neutral, that's a step beyond what's there within what's in their parameters. So that's when I start giving them consequences.
Also, like, what would you do in that situation? Would you just make them change their alignment, or like?
There
'Cause
are
my dad did that
ways.
to me once as a cleric.
I
was
think
lawful
there's
good,
somewhere in the
and-
rule book, like maybe in the DM's guide or the player's handbook, how you can go about doing that. Either you can give them a certain penalty for a certain time. I think it's usually the default thing to do.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I was gonna say, if they're doing more evilly things, if they happen to go to good areas, like churches and things, you could have a detect evil spell just automatically set up on the door.
Oh yeah, if they have classes, like if they're a paladin or a cleric
Especially a paladin,
that are dependent on their alignment, that's
Yeah, like there's a app called Fifth Ed Character Creator, and they like constantly update it with like different archetypes, and one of them is called the Oathbreaker Paladin.
Oh yeah.
But you've been raising your hand for a bit.
sorry,
But
It's, I mean, with alignment, the way, as a DM, which I've never actually done, but if I was doing it, I would be like, okay, you've done this once, people can vary like that in terms of their ethics, but if you do this consistently, it's gonna be like a shit.
one time is
Yeah.
it's fine. Like if you accidentally, like if you're a lawful good somebody, you accidentally kill somebody innocent, as long as it's accidental and you just straight out kill them in cold blood. then that's
I'm gonna say like if you when you're doing that, like for what I plan to do when I finally like start really using alignments is to essentially have like a little like cheat book, like have like a little chart, like how far will you let them go and what scale punishment will you do for these things. You were first.
Yeah,
and then
well,
we'll go
yeah,
down.
because like one thing, like it's not really an issue per se, but like almost any time that I've been playing or DMing, regardless, every other person that's playing, they either choose lawful good, chaotic good, or straight neutral, and nothing else. It's always those three, and I can't ever seem to get them to pick anything else beyond that.
I like neutral good myself.
I mean, for that, I say, like, if you want to tell them, be like, here's a campaign, and here's the ones you can choose from. Like, just straight up, like, if you really want to get people to go out of their boundaries, be like, here's what you can choose from.
Yeah,
Do these.
because like normally when I run a campaign, I'll ask them, I'm gonna go, all right, what do you normally play? And then if they go tank, I'm just like, all right, fine, all you can play is a magic user. You know, because I want to get them out of their wheelhouse. I want to get them to
Yeah, that's what we
play
have.
other
We've
stuff.
definitely done
I'm always going to
some
promote
stuff
players
like
to
that.
always do something different. We do have one player who, she has like the mechanical, the character sheet is different, but as far as like the personality and that whole play style, she usually does the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
It's actually two things now. First thing on what he was saying, in a situation like that, I read online someone to just mess with their players. Basically, like they didn't have like very many good characters because everyone wanted to be chaotic neutral because they didn't want to like have to be a nice person.
Yeah.
So what he did was he threw in the basically a god sword, but could only be used by lawful good. Just to put the kind of like plant the idea in their head that sometimes being other characters is good.
I did find in my experience that not a lot of people understand lawful evil.
Yeah.
Like that's something that like, because most of the players that I played with that say they're going to be a lawful evil character usually play it off as chaotic.
Yeah, because they'll play the most ruthless
Yeah.
bastard that's ever lived, and they don't get, well, they're still lost in it.
I eventually will try a lawful evil character and see if I can do it.
I mean, and like I'll be honest, like lawful evil, that's definitely a hard one because for me, like I don't really know lawful evil. I'd argue that Stain from My Hero Academia is lawful evil.
I'd say he's neutral evil.
Because like, see, and like that's like a whole. Okay, all right, hold on. Now we're gonna go. You had something from a bit ago, and then.
I'm gonna let her go first.
I was wanting to point out something you guys did with us recently, where we actually, the characters got together and we talked about stuff that we wanted to do for our characters and how our group was gonna work. And then also working on with the DMs on backstories.
That's a very good thing to do. Get together as a group and optimize your group synergy. Like, what kind of role are you playing? That way you guys don't, because
Have two of the same players.
when everybody makes their character separately, everybody's a DPS. And nobody's either like the healer or the like utility rogue.
Yeah.
It helped a lot better in my opinion because it helps also the players figure out what they're wanting to do in long term because to me that helped me a lot.
I mean, pretty much like I hadn't like gone to it yet, but we pretty much covered making NPCs and PCs, discussing how to deal with like those basic problems. Because they just came in saying 9 minutes, so I kind of want to go a little bit
The
ahead.
real quick thing with
really quick.
NPCs that I found to be a really nice thing is if you have a group, but you're make at least one NPC that is a regular member of the group. Probably just one to help you drive your story where it needs to go and help you steer your players in the right direction.
Yeah, because we had that for Fairy Tale. We got like,
You guys have it for Ruby too.
we
Tara.
yeah, but I mean, I figured it was somebody else considering you didn't, have
No.
Tara until recently in there. I always thought it was Athena.
It is.
Because she would push us, but that's a whole other thing. But, do you guys have any questions about sessions? Like how to go through one?
What do you think is like a good session time? Like how long you're gonna play?
At least, I'm going to say at least 2 hours.
Yeah.
You can get a good fight in that. You can get some interactions in there. So if you're pressed for time, I'm going to say a baseline 2 hours. But if you've got free time, if you've got like evening, we usually go from about 5:30 to 10.
Yeah, at least a good 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah. So your baseline 2 hours.
But-
My favorite is pulling 2 days straight.
I've done that before.
Yeah.
That's my dream.
I
I
fell
want to do
asleep in
that.
the middle of like a very big thing, and when I woke up, my character was, because I was asleep, so my character was like kidnapped by the main villain. I was like, all right, this is how that happens.
Now, I'll say this though, like, I run my own YouTube channel and we do some RPG playing on there, like Shadow of the Demon Lord, 5th Ed, homebrews, whatnot. when I first started, we were doing like 3-4 hour videos, and the view rate would just be almost nothing. But once I cut it down to like an hour and a half, like the view level went up really drastically because people can sit through an hour to an hour and a half because that's generally any TV show, any movie.
Yeah, it's so different when you're watching somebody do it and when you're doing it yourself.
Yeah.
There are a good few YouTubers who's like Matthew Mercer and a couple.
Yeah, Critical Role.
The Achievement Hunters, they Heroes and Halfwits. That's one I like. I like.
Harmon's Quest is a good one for the shorter length.
Yeah.
And then Kalina's in one.
Yeah, our friend Kalina, she does one called Valkyries in the Dark.
Yeah, Valkyries in the Dark is like, so like if you want to do that, if you want to put your things in there, even if you sat down that day and did a huge session, you know,
Yeah,
you definitely
averagely-
can edit it and be like, oh, that's where we ended for
Averagely, a
today.
YouTube
but then-
video's worth of D&D is about like between 1 and 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, like me and my
So-
friends, we go to the library and play, but we play for like 5-6 hours, but we cut it down to like 4 or 5 videos, you know, over the whole day.
Something that's
An
helped
hour
that
is not
helped me,
long enough for
especially
this panel.
No, it's
now
not.
With our fairy
It's
tale,
not.
with our fairy tale,
We need at least 24.
but now it's too. It's really now with our fairy tale. How we've gotten the system down was we just wrote down a whole like schedule of like what's going to happen, and we just filled in as much time.
Yeah, it's one thing to run a session on your own, but we're assholes and we run them together for some of these campaigns because we have so many NPCs that work together, that are partners, that are married, that are family. He's got one character. I made all 6 wives for that character.
We filled all sorts of.
And
tropes
then
up.
he has another character. I've made all 8. I made 8 of the children.
What?
Yeah.
Somebody was
We have a lot of time on our hands and a lot of creativity, and I don't have the capacity to put this all on paper. So this is what we do. With it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So-
way too much.
And that family started by accident because I showed you my face name for her, and you were like, "Can
I ship my
can they be
character with
doing
your
it?" And I'm like,
character?
"Yes." And then they ended up getting married, and I was like,
Cool.
"Cool. All right. Well, here's your kids." Australian,
It's
Turkish
like,
people.
dun dun.
Australian.
They are. That whole family. The dad's Australian, the mom is Turkish.
And because we have so many NPCs and we just a lot more, we just like to reuse NPCs, and they become kind of famous, like
Oh,
Civ
that-
and Final
yeah.
Fantasy kind of.
That'll definitely
Really
be
use
fun
them
in
different
a
campaigns.
session. Like if you get like good players that are with you for a while and you reuse like characters, when you bring up a character that they've played with in other ones and they instantly know that character from that voice, you can see that excitement from it. And then the same thing goes when you use a character multiple times, bring him in, be a great father figure, and then you've been holding on to it for a year that you plan to kill him.
'Cause he had
And finally your players
He
learn
had
that as they
incurable
watch the
anime
funeral.
cancer. He has incurable
That's
anime
awesome.
cancer.
You
In
made
every
us
campaign he is.
I was gonna say, I'll talk about characters. My favorite NPC ever was in Deserts of Desolation. In the pyramid, there was the gnome that was obsessed with spoons.
Sounds like everything I could ever want.
He was digging his way through the pyramid with a spoon.
I love gnomes. I have a favorite gnome of mine too. He's got like 5 names.
And the way he's introduced is
Neil.
if you're searching the walls,
Neil
if you
fan.
tap on it, he copies your rhythm of tapping.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
And when you move the rock, you just see the gnome sitting there with spoons.
I love gnomes.
Yeah,
Gnomes are cool.
one of the best moments I ever had when it came to a campaign book was, I think it was Horde of the Dragon Queen. In the
Is that
in the
the Tiamat one?
yeah, in the Mummy tomb. I don't know if
I
anyone's
haven't
played
played it,
that.
but I dabbled in it. It looks
Well,
really interesting.
well, there's like a mummy tomb, and like our group went in there, and one of our characters wound up drinking from the well that made him go insane. And so for like the next 10-15 minutes, it was like a Benny Hill montage of like going in between doors, like constantly, and like we were laughing and crying so hysterically.
You pulled a sock up on the cactus juice.
Cartoon now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Castle.
I got a couple of questions. One, did y'all record any of y'all's sessions for
I
Fairy Tale?
want to so bad, but someone's like, no one wants to see our things. They do. Look, they love us.
Just break them down to 1 hour, an hour and a half sessions. And just
I
post
think-
on
I will watch
Twitter.
6 hours straight.
Oh my gosh. I like
Oh,
You
it.
have,
fantastic.
you have too
Next
much
week
time
we're
on
doing
your
a 10
hands.
hour
Oh,
session.
I spent a whole week binging all of
I
Critical
really
Role.
want to start doing that. Like I'm sitting here. I'm about to make a like Tumblr page for our campaigns.
There's
and
demand
everything.
for it, so let's do it.
I really like that's something. Actually, since we're right here, like at the end of it, we're like we talked about all this that's on the screen here throughout this. If you guys want, I will write down for you because within this next like week or so when we start up our new campaigns, I really want to start recording some of them, putting them up, and I want to Tumblr and be able to, and I actually want to live stream one of our like sessions too to see all like the crap we do. I also there's a site that I have a huge portion of like my characters like saved on there with their bios and everything. And because I want to be able to have those things to interact and to be able to show people different anime like campaigns. So if you guys really like want that, like I'll write down like the stuff that I'm planning on using as the names for it in a way to like contact me to be able to get it because I want to do it. Now that he's been like, yeah, we'll do it. I'm like, yes.
Two more. One, did y'all take any notes from y'all's campaign, like historically what was happening in it?
I have a
Yeah.
very
I tried
crude
to.
thing of notes that's got like squiggles and then like other notes.
I do, and I have like some,
One of our
like,
characters,
saved
he gets
too.
like beaten like to like an inch with his life, and my note is like Ricardo gets wrecked.
there was another note on there that we were having this reveal that we've been sitting on forever of this character we had. He's this drunk Irishman, and I love him so much. And it turns out that he has two dads. They've raised him. No one's ever said anything. No one ever questioned who his biological parents were. So no one ever like really suspected that this cultist was his father. And the cultist's name is Jameson. So when we got to that reveal in his notes, it says Jameson and like has an underline.
I put the words "get it" because I knew she was gonna look at them.
And like I literally threw the paper across the room. I was so mad.
And the stupid
The
thing.
Jameson reveal.
And